What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Baker's DIY Lifestyle. So today what we're going to be doing is going back over the yard. It's been about a month since we planted the grass seed and threw our first application of fertilizer this year. And you can see we've definitely got some good green up happening, but I've got a ton of spots where the seed is washed and it hasn't really grown up. And ultimately, I think it's just because it wasn't kept wet enough. So most of the places you can see behind me where I do have a good stand of grass coming up, that's where the sun was actually behind these trees on the other side of the yard, and it helped keep a lot of the ground really wet. But up here towards the top of the hill where the water ran down, that's usually where the sun hits the yard the hardest, about midway through the day. But as we're getting closer and closer to winter, the sun is getting lower and lower in the sky. And I'm thinking if I get one more round of grass seed out there and another application of fertilizer across the whole yard, I can really push this thing into winter and get it growing good. But for right now, what I'm going to do is take my good old blower. I'm going to clean up some of the leaves around here. And I know this isn't really the best thing to be doing on fresh seed or fresh grass, because if there is some that's just barely rooted, I'm probably going to pull it up. But honestly, at this point, the bare spots are big enough that I really just need to go ahead and knock it out and get some fresh seed down and try to get the stuff that is in the ground growing really good before it gets too cold this winter. But for right now, I'm going to start blowing some of these leaves around. Let's get started. Well, my battery is obviously going bad in this thing because that lasted all of, what, 3 minutes? So I guess I'm gonna have to go look for a new battery for this bad boy. But since I can't get it done with that, I've got a little push mower I'm gonna pull out. I can put a bagger on it and I'll try to bag up some of these leaves and I'll see how that does. But you can tell already just how much coverage those leaves had on the ground. And I've definitely got some decent growth right here under there. And there's a decent bit actually coming up in that dirt spot over there as well. They're very tiny, so I'm definitely gonna have to hit them with some fertilizer and get the water back down into them. But I've got more growth under there than I thought, so that's a good sign. Hopefully it'll be the same way for the rest of the yard. Well, that worked out all right. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and go down here under this big old pin oak tree. Try to pick up a few more. The blower was definitely working better, but anything I can do to get less leaves on the ground is gonna be a good thing. And it really doesn't look like I tore up much of the grass over there, if anything. So I'm actually, hopefully looking pretty good now. But over here, we've got a ton of leaves that have settled under this pin oak, and I know it's really hurting the grass underneath it. So I'm kind of anxious to see what is actually under all this big old pile right here. So once I get that cleaned up, we'll see what it looks like. We can assess how much seed we need to throw in this area. All right, so that's about all I have time for back here, picking up the leaves. I got most of them picked up, and I can see a majority of the ground now. There's still a bunch of leaves left, but since my blower's broke, it's definitely making it a lot harder to get them all piled up and get them picked up. The bagger on the little push mower is doing pretty good so far. The only problem is it's just really not big enough for the amount of leaves that I'm pulling off of the yard. So it's taking me so long just to make multiple trips. I'm having to stop, pull the bag off, empty it out, and do all that good stuff. But as far as the growth in the backyard, it's looking pretty good. Without any rain, even the past 2 weeks, the yard is still really muddy. I'm sure that's in part to me watering, but also the closer we get to winter, the more I'm noticing how deep the sun is in those trees right there. So I don't know if you can see it up through those white pines there. They're pretty much shading the entire backyard, which kind of is a good thing because with this Kentucky bluegrass back here, it likes the colder temperatures, and that's going to help it last a little bit longer through the summertime just with all that extra shade. But it is making it really hard to get the ground to dry out. So I'll definitely see here in the next few months how that impacts the way the grass grows or how wet it stays back there. But now that I've got all the leaves picked up, I am going to hit this little section right here that's growing really, really good. The tall fescue in the front yard. I'm going to mow it down just a little bit. Then we'll get out here, we'll reseed some of the bare spots and throw down our last application of fertilizer for the year, and we'll see what happens in the next couple months. Well, since I totally forgot to hit the hyperlapse button, here's the first mow of the best looking section of the yard. So it's definitely coming in nice. We took probably, I would say probably at least ½ an inch off the top of that. Just got it leveled out, so now when I throw my fertilizer, it's not going to be way taller than the rest of the yard. But if I can get the whole yard looking like that before winter, we'll be in really good shape. All right, so I got all the seed down pretty quick. I'm going in here to grab my bag of fertilizer. So this one I actually got from Home Depot. This is the Vigoro. I think it's the Home Depot brand, but I had a store credit, so I went ahead and grabbed some while I was there. But this starter fertilizer is a 23-23-3. So it's a little bit different than that 18-24-6, I believe, that I put down from the Stay Green brand from Lowe's. So I'll go ahead and do the math on this and let you guys know how much nitrogen I'm putting down. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw this entire bag across my 22,000 square feet. So it's a little bit less than bag rate, but that's okay because I just threw fertilizer about a month ago. So I'm really just kind of spoon feeding it, trying to get it into winter. But since it's a 23 instead of an 18, I'm getting just a little bit more nitrogen than I got last time, which is perfectly fine since I actually have some growth now. But I'm gonna go ahead and rip that thing open, get it thrown down. We should be done for the day. All right guys, so that is all I have for this video. If you enjoyed this content and you want to see more of this yard coming to life before winter this year, definitely be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the action. But now all I have to do is just wait for some rain. So it's a 50% chance of rain today, and it looks like here in the next couple days it's going to rain some more. So I got my fingers crossed that the rain's going to come down and this is going to jump up really quick and hopefully finish off the rest of the yard right here that needs to fill in. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.